89 that Caleb was talking about. Nice job, Caleb. How are we feeling about weighted means? Pretty good? Okay. All right, let's talk about the mean of a frequency distribution. We've got to get an example for that. Okay. So let's see, this is the mean of a data set whose entries have different frequencies. To find this, multiply the data value, add them up, and divide by the sum of the frequencies. So let's say, for example 2, that, do you remember yesterday when we were doing that thing where we were talking about, was it yesterday or a couple days ago when we were saying like what your favorite subject area is in school? Okay. And I had a bad sample size because I talked to you guys who are definitely the type of people who enjoy math. So let's say maybe that's a bad one to do. Let's say the question is, how many hours per week do you spend on homework? Okay. Let's see, I want to do 5 rows and 4 columns. All right, so how many hours per week do you spend on homework at home? Mason, you ready to make up some data with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say that there are 200 students. Okay? All right, so we know that they're going to add up to 200. How many of them do you think go in any of these categories? They just got to add up to 200. Just take a guess about our school. How many hours per week do you spend on homework? What amount out of 200 spend 0 to 1 hours at home on their homework per week?
200, probably like 110.
Oh, I thought you said 200, and I'm like, what? Okay, so 110 people say spend 0 to 1 hours outside of school. Keep going.
Probably like 40. 50 people.
You got 50 people left.
Yeah. 50. I don't want to put more people higher.
You could. I mean, I think that there's kind of like, I think that it wouldn't just be like the most people in the front and then like a tail. I think it would be most people in the front, a tail, and maybe a little blip at the end if I was going to judge, because there's always like, I don't know, a few kids per class who are like, I'm really going to dedicate my time to this, and I'm going to spend a lot of time outside of school.
I do 20 and like 15.
20 and 15?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, now this is the weight, so that's like how many are in each category. Now if you wanted to find the average for this group of people, we'd have to find out like how many hours they spent and then add up 200 numbers and then divide by 200, which sounds like a nightmare, right? So instead we're going to do this. What do you think our data point should be? Like if I was going to multiply this group, this 110 people, by a number, what number should that be? What number would represent them and how much hours they spend out in school? Or on homework outside of school? They say they go 0 to 1, right? So should I put 0 or 1 here? Or 0.5? What'd you say, Caleb? 0.5? Okay, I think that's a good idea. We're going to put the midpoints in this category here. So we're going to say 0.5, this one's 2.5, this one's 4.5, 6.5, and 8.5. Last category, we're going to take x times w. $100 times 0.5, 110 times 0.5 is what's 55. 40 times 2.5 is 100. 15 times 4.5 is 67.5. 20 times 6.5 is 130. And 15 times 8.5 is 127.5. Okay. So if we look at the directions for finding the mean of a frequency distribution, it says, to find this, multiply the data value, sometimes the midpoint of each class, add them up, and divide by the sum of the frequencies. So we're going to add these up, and then we're going to divide by 200. You can kind of imagine it's like finding a regular average. But instead we're kind of doing it all at once instead of having to have 200 numbers we're working with. So that would be 480 divided by 200, which is 2.4. Is 2.4 hours per week a reasonable average for this group of people that Mason made up? Most people are in this first category, right? This 0.5, so we got a lot of 0.5ers. Does that make sense to you guys? That it would be a little bit below? Yeah? Okay, that's a reasonable answer. What's a stupid answer? There are stupid answers in math. Everybody knows that, right? What's a stupid answer? 10 hours. That's very stupid because the average of this one is even 8.5. Here's a dumber answer, okay? If you forget to divide by 200 and you say the answer is 480. Okay, read the problem. It's talking about how many hours per week you spend on homework. That's more hours than there are in a week. So that's pretty impressive that you would spend that much time on your homework. Okay, shapes of distributions. I wasn't going to make you draw them.